Got it? Okay. So the previous lesson we have learned that there is a triangular shaped plateau that is located in the peninsular region, and this is marked with ranges of mountains on the eastern and the western side, isn't it? And we have also learned that the mountains that are there on the hills, the hill ranges on the west are continuous mountain range, whereas the mountain on the hills on the eastern side are broken hills. Broken. Right? Yes. So now we need to understand that there is another physical feature which lies in between the coastal line and these mountains. Okay. So we have this is a Western Ghats, and these are the Eastern Ghats, right? So there, if we check, we can find a landform. If we check, we can find a landform in between the coastal line and the Western Ghats, and here in the Eastern Ghats, right? So the speciality of this landform is they lie in between Arabian Sea and Western Ghats. The second, Bay of Bengal and Eastern Ghats, right? So here it is in between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea, and here it is between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so this land region is known as the coastal plain. Okay, so the land region that is found in between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats on the western part of India, and the Bay of Bengal and the Eastern Ghats on the eastern part of India is called the coastal plains, right? So in South India, we have two coastal plains. One is the Eastern Coastal Plain, this one, and the second is a Western Coastal Plain, right? So now we need to study a bit more about these two regions, and we will start with the Eastern Coastal Plain. We'll start with the Eastern Coastal Plain. So Eastern Coastal Plain is the plain land area. So remember, just like the northern plains, this land area in between the hills and the sea is a plain land area. Okay. So the plain land area which lies in between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal is known as the Eastern Coastal Plain. The plain land area which lies in between Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal is known as the Eastern Coastal Plain. They are further divided into two parts. Okay, so the first one in that is Northern Sarkar Coast. In that we have a Northern Sarkar. We know we have this river, no? River Krishna. We have a river Krishna, isn't it? So the plain region which lies to the north of river Krishna is known as the Northern Sarkar region. Okay, the northern side of river Krishna is known as the Northern Sarkar region. So part of West Bengal, Odisha, and part of Andhra Pradesh are in a northern Sarkar region. Okay, because northern Sarkar is the coastal line of eastern side of India, which lies to the north of River Krishna. Okay, so that is called as a northern Sarkar, and a speciality of this region is that it is very fertile. The region is very fertile. In the previous class, we have seen the river Damodar, which floods during the rainy season, again brings the silt. And we have plenty of rivers in that region. Damodar is there, Mahanadi is there, Godavari is there. Their tributaries are also in this flowing in this region. So this region is extremely fertile, right? So here we have a Sundarban Delta. Here we have a Sundarban Delta. So from Delta to the Krishna Delta is what is a northern Sarkars. So the soil is very fertile. The major cities in this region are Paradweep is there, Visakhapatnam is there, right? Visakhapatnam is an industrial center also, because there is a shipbuilding industry there, there is an oil refinery there, steel plant is there. Other major seaports are, we have a port in Machilpatnam, we have a seaport in Kakinada, then Gopalpur is another seaport in this region, right? So the first section of eastern coastal plain is called the northern Sarkar. The northern Sarkar is on the eastern coastal plain of India from the Sundarban Delta in the north until the river Krishna in the south. The region in between river Krishna and the Sundarban Delta are called the northern Sarkar. The states that are there in this are West Bengal, Odisha, and a part of Andhra Pradesh. It's a very fertile region because it's on the floodplains of so many rivers like Mahanadi, then Damodar, then Godavari, their tributaries. All these are there in this region. And the major cities over here are Visakhapatnam, then Paradweep is another major port in this region. Then Visakhapatnam is also famous for its shipbuilding unit, oil refinery, and a steel plant over there. And Kakinada, Machilipatnam, and Gopalpur are another major ports in this region. Okay. So now the second is called the Coromandel Coast. So where do we have Coromandel Coast? From river Krishna till Kanyakumari, this region is called the Coromandel Coast. This is called the northern Sarkar. So to the south of river Krishna until Kanyakumari is what we have a Coromandel Coast. So Coromandel actually means a black sand. So here the sand that is found on the sea shores are a bit blackish in color, and that is why they are usually called the Coromandel Coast, right? So the coastal region to the south of river Krishna from Machilipatnam till Kanyakumari is called the Coromandel Coast, right? The major city over here is Chennai. Chennai is also the major seaport over here. Another major port is Tuticorin. This region receives heavy rainfall because of the depressions and all that is quite common in this Bay of Bengal. This region receives very good rainfall. Okay, so that is about the Coromandel Coast. So the Coromandel Coast is actually to the south of river Krishna from Machilipatnam to Kanyakumari. The major city is Chennai. Tuticorin is another important port here. This region receives very heavy rainfall. So when we say more about this eastern coastal plain, this is wider than the western coastal plain, right? So the western coastal plains are comparatively narrower, whereas this is a wider one, right? And this region is more fertile than the western coast also. Okay. We have alluvial soil available in plenty in a eastern coastal line. Why? Because most of the rivers like Damodar or Mahanadi or Godavari or Kaveri or Penna or whichever river they are, most of them originate in the eastern side of the western Ghats and they travel a long distance by the time they reach this region. Right? So as they flow for a longer distance, they always carry a lot of silt along with them, which makes obviously the region to have a very good amount of alluvial soil, which makes this land area a more fertile one. Okay. Deltas are there. Sundarban Delta is there on the mouth of river Ganga. Then Godavari Delta is there. Krishna Delta is there. A small one called the Kaveri Delta also is there. Right? Then this region is very famous for food crops like rice is mostly cultivated in this region. Rice is mostly cultivated in this region, and that is why this region, especially the northern Sircar region, is called the rice bowl of South India. Okay, so that is about the eastern coast. Now, western coast actually is from Gujarat till Kanyakumari. Okay, so this region is known as the Rann of Kuch, Rann of Kutch, right? So right from here till here we have the western coastal line, right? So the western coastal plain is in between the Arabian Sea and the western Ghats on the western side. And it extends on the states of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa was here, Karnataka was there, and Kerala is also there. Okay. This is comparatively a narrower region, right? Western coastal plain is comparatively a narrow region. It's not that fertile also. It's not that fertile. When we compare it with that of the eastern coastal plains, it's not that fertile. It's fertile, but not as fertile as the western, so the eastern plains, right? So, yeah.